Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Wisconsin Basketball League Update. My name is Allie Witt.
And my name is Lisa Van Wyk.
I think we're on episode 6. Six, right? 6. We're getting the head nod from the back.
Yeah.
We took a few weeks off, but we're ready to rock and roll, and this is coming kind of at a perfect time because we are in the midst of playoffs. We just came off of 2 of our first playoff games on Friday, May 21st, and we saw the 4th and 5th seed of Fury or 4th and 5th seed of Dynasty and Fury go at it.
Yep.
And which was a competitive matchup. I heard, that they both played within their games, some of their best games. Yeah. But Dynasty came out on top to a surprise-ish, not really. I mean, I think a lot of people anticipated that squad was going to come out on top. They just have a few more of those bigger guys that just can work, the smaller guards of Fury, and it forces them to rely on their guard playing a little bit more, which is a little unreliable sometimes. So.
Yeah. And I'm actually very happy with how Fury did this season. I think that they kind of, people may not have had the brightest look about them at times just because of their season, but they really took it to some teams, and for starting later and for the number of practices they had, and they were competitive.
Yeah.
They really fit into the league, and I see some good things coming in the future.
I definitely agree, and they have some great players. I mean, they did lose a key contributor to their roster with Isaiah Banks just stepping away from the league, and which was great. He's going through college and family stuff right now, and he had a kid on the way, so he's got more than enough on his plate.
It's a good load. It's
a great load.
Yeah.
But with him stepping away, you saw the team try to adjust to those bigger squads, and that was difficult, But to say that Fury is still competitive in they finished 3-10 after their loss to Dynasty, so they're officially out. Their season is officially done, unfortunately. But some great gameplay, as you said, from them, and some great guys that I can definitely see in the league moving forward.
Absolutely. We want to see in the league moving forward.
Yes. When it came down to it, Tiannan Chen really scored and outscored everyone yet again with 32 points and 11 rebounds. So
he
just
kind
of
smile.
Yeah,
he makes me smile.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, and so that was a big thing, right? That was their kind of. That's their edge, the leading scorer.
Horse, and actually, what's great about him, he's just been consistent the entire season.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's been the guy that other teams talk about that they need to stop.
Every time. And it's always, double-doubles or double-digits points. He's just a very dangerous guy. It's rare for him not to score 20-plus points, 25-plus points, sometimes 30 points, So obviously we've shown a bunch of love to Chen so far this season, and it's been great, So he helped with that advancement over Fury. The leading scorer for Fury that game was Chris Lewis with 19 points and 7 rebounds. So when he's on fire, anything can be competitive. So like I said, when we go back to Fury is competitive and they finished 3-10, don't look at 3-10 and 10 in a negative way. They were giving all those teams hell, and it wasn't outside of one game, I think, this season. Otherwise, everything's been really, really tight.
Yeah, they brought their fury.
Yeah, that's why they're called it, right?
That was cheesy, but I had to say it.
I know. It's only in the blood, right?
Yeah.
But so Dynasty ultimately moved on, right? Fury, essentially went home in that sense, and wishing those guys all the best moving forward. They're still going to come back for our contests and hopefully next season as well.
Yeah, and it was neat to see their organization and Coach Singleton just be able to pull in the caliber athletes that he did and players and really run his organization professionally throughout the season. And yeah, that's what we want in this league, and we want more of.
Yeah, which definitely helped with that win over Fury to advance them on to the game 2 of Friday, May 21st against the first seed, the Milwaukee Kings. The Kings ended up beating the Dynasty 95-78 and led by Ben Meinholz. And Ben had 33 points and 18 rebounds. No doubt in my mind, I don't even need to check the stat books. That's the highest he's scored so far this season. Might be the highest amount of rebounds he's received this season as well. So coming up very big, because I know one of their biggest contributors, Adam Fravert, came out with 4 points, which is extremely unheard of from him. That's normally
unusual.
It's normal. So, but Ben stepped up when they needed it. I know he followed by Mac Jones, who had a 15-point game, and it was just overall a great game. With Dynasty, talked to Coach Singleton after, said played some of their best basketball that game. They ended up losing 95-78, but still some of their best basketball, and the Kings said that they gave the Dynasty hell on defense, right? So that they were up and at them the entire game, and it showed in their stat lines. Like everything was a little bit harder to attempt, right? Their attempts were limited, but they were still scoring a great amount. But it was really coming down to the fact that the Kings played great defense, limited their attempts on the floor. And Chen only had 19 points and 5 rebounds. So he was tired from game one.
And so that was exactly what I was going to ask you do you think there is an advantage for that team who plays in that second game of the evening to not have that first game, to have that rest?
100%. And that's the ultimate goal, right? You want to be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like you have to, if you don't want to play 2 games back to back, well, you got to be, you got to be the 4th or 5th seed, or you got to be the 1 seed in round 1, and then being able to advance. Well, then you got to beat out a team that doesn't have a game under their belt. Right. And same thing goes for when we advance to our final round. Right. We have the 2-3 versus the 3 seed versus whoever came out of the round 1, which is the Kings, right, in the championship game. Yep. So it does get difficult. The guys are used to playing back to back, but it's also the consequence of not being the 1 seed.
Right.
And so that's the whole, and that comes with any tournament, right? Like if you're talking about placement, that's the holy grail of placement.
Yeah, and that's true. Even through youth, all the youth tournaments, collegiate, you want to be able to win that first game.
Oh yeah.
If you lose your first game, you have a crappy schedule.
Yeah, back to back to back.
You might end up in a bad gym, like an elementary small gym with paddings like 2 feet away from the basketball hoop.
Exactly.
You definitely want to make sure that you work hard and smart throughout the season to be able to come out on top to help you in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the incentive, right? So the Kings have definitely had the advantage the whole way through. But say, Fury or Dynasty would have came out of that first round. Well, then Fury or Dynasty, a 4th or 5th seed, would have had the advantage in that round. So it's really whoever comes out of this first round, right, has an advantage in the second round. But in the second and final round, this is what I've been really looking forward to, is that Friday, June 11th at Just a Game Fieldhouse, we're going to see Ignite and Movement go at it, which is probably, in my opinion, going to be the closest game of the playoff series because if you get a good Movement squad rolling, positive energy, right?
Yes.
They are dangerous.
Yes.
And then Ignite, pretty consistent, but limited numbers to this point. They've experienced a multitude of injuries, and which has been very difficult. Some changes along the way, and they're rocking with now like an 8-man roster, I believe, a 7-man roster. It just depends, really, and so.
Which actually, if they do come out of that game ahead against Movement with that limited roster, that's tough. That's tough.
But
so
they're
going to have to overcome a lot of odds.
Yeah, and they've competed like that before. So the thing is, the reality, right? Even with Movement, occasionally they have a limited roster too. So it's just it's here and there. But with that Ignite and Movement game, I mean, this would be our closest record to record game. So Ignite is 7-5, and Movement is 6-6. So essentially, they're 1 game apart, right? 1 game apiece apart, and
that's gonna be a crazy great game.
It will, I think a lot of emotions will be flying.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see a lot of intensity, but it's at 5 p.m. Friday, June 11th, and whoever wins out of that will advance to the final championship game and make history as the first ever WBL champion.
Ooh, I can't wait.
I know. I'm really excited because this has come a long way, right? Yeah. Between all the staff and everything that's been put into it, and not having a schedule and having a schedule, and COVID and all these different protocols, right? It's just
building a league, adding teams. Yep.
It's been crazy, right? And it's been nuts, but we are finally to this point. We're in the last round. We got 3 teams left. We got Ignite, Movement, Kings, and we're ready to see them battle. I mean, Kings have a very solid record right now, clearly the best in the league, and it will be interesting to see because we've noticed along the way that record doesn't really matter. right?
Yes, that's true.
They got to show up and they got to perform, and they got to use all their players.
Yep.
So, and in the past games, right? Movement has defeated the Kings once.
Yep.
Ignite, I believe, has defeated the Kings once. But so it's really anyone's game, and Kings have defeated both of them, right? And Ignite and Movement, I think, are a horse apiece on theirs. So it's gonna be like that's gonna be the closest. This is gonna be the closest round.
Exciting evening.
Yes. So if you are available on Friday, June 11th, please pop out to Just a Game Fieldhouse at 5 p.m. to watch Ignite versus Movement take each other on in Game 3, Round 2 of the WBL playoffs. Only to follow with some great competitions at 7 and 7:30.
Yes.
So we have of the last date, our Friday, May 21st. We had the 3-point contest and the combo guard shooting contest, and Ignite ended up taking that and swooping both contests. Cole Ellistead won the 3-point contest. And
congratulations, Cole.
Yeah, big congrats. And the Brager brothers, Jonathan and Will.
Brager brothers, I love that.
Won the combo contest. So that was all around a really great. Everyone seemed to have a great time. It's fun to see those contests kind of bring out the funner side of the guys, right? So they take it very, very serious still, but they like to have a good time.
Yeah, and it was neat to see them go down to JAG for those competitions, even though they weren't playing, correct? Yeah.
Correct. So Ignite wasn't playing, Movement wasn't playing. Otherwise, those are the only two that weren't playing that day. So they traveled all the way down there just to, which, made it worth their trip, right? They won. So that was check on that.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the things I heard upon watching the guys is that there seems to have been some relationships built across the teams,
100%.
Which has been pretty neat to see. The guys really respect each other, team to team. There's communication. There's some fun banter back and forth.
Yeah.
And so that's been a real positive from this league.
Yeah, they build that kind of brotherhood within it, within their teams especially. Like I know from, having to be around these guys, like they love each other. I mean, they'll talk, crap with each other but now it comes down to, right, they are really developing further relationships with guys that are completely, on an opposite team. And that's something that personally I like to see, just because you just didn't get that in other leagues, and so with that Wisconsin, that's why I like it's the Wisconsin based, right? Because you're not, it's hard to build a relationship with a guy you play once or twice a year out of Illinois or Michigan or wherever you want to go, right? It's like, hey, this guy I could meet up with at, Madison, I could shoot hoops with him and, all these different things. So it's really, like you said, that is super influential on making this about the basketball community, is that they're able to build those cross-team relationships. So with that, we're going to see another contest where we can see those relationships built even further with the levels contest at 7 p.m. on Friday, June 11th, and then the dunk contest on Friday, June 11th at 7:30. So me either. Like I'm really excited. I think there's going to be like one or two guys that, because it goes based on round 1 and round 2. So essentially, you have to make it point-wise out of round 1. You have to be the top 2 point scorers of round 1 to make it on to round 2. And then you combine your first round and second round, and that's your score. And whoever wins is the 2021 WBL dunk contest champion.
Okay. Are you going to say who the judges are?
Yeah, the judges are
Do you want to say who the judges are? You don't want anybody influencing them before?
True, yeah, you're right. I appreciate the pause. We will leave it to where it is and who it's going to be.
How many judges will there be?
5 total. 5 total judges. Okay. So a nice span, give some diversity, and it'll be really good. So awesome. I'm excited about that. And we got, again, game 1, 5 p.m., levels contest, 7 o'clock, dunk contest, 7:30, and then we finish with the WBL championship game at 8 p.m., only to follow the entire event with crowning the MVP, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, WBL League Team, and obviously the WBL champions. Yeah, so I'm stoked. I cannot wait, because finals
a lot of
MVP
hardware
too.
Yeah,
the trophy for the finals MVP is pretty sick.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to see who gets it.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be an extravaganza.
Yeah.
Really, that evening.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So people should be able to go buy tickets in advance. Are we doing advanced ticket sales or ticket sales at the venue?
At the venue, we're going to have a few people staffing it, so we're expecting extra crowd, and it'll be good to go. So you guys can come on out to Just a Game Fieldhouse. Arrive a few minutes early, and we'd love to have you. I mean, this is going to be an exciting moment for the teams that advance and for the teams that don't. I mean, it's still an exciting moment because we're going to have Fury and Dynasty back in the building competing in those contests and receiving their respective team awards as well. So
wonderful. Great.
That's all I really have. That's our update.
Well, that's all. That's a lot.
I know.
That's great. There's so much to talk about.
We're
so many
in playoff
great
mode. We're ready to go. Again, we have Ignite, Movement, Kings in the final rounds. And you got any predictions? Can we give you? I can't give a. I think I'm too involved. I think I'm too involved. Can you give your predictions? Despite being the president owner of Blaze Sports and Fitness, and thinking about your Ignite guys, right? Think about the rosters. Think about the diversity in them. Think about the records. Can you give?
Okay, I think that the first game, Ignite versus Movement, it can go either way. I agree.
I agree.
It's going to be a very close game down to the wire. I think I'm predicting a 1 to 2 point game.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know if I could tell you who I think is going to come out of this. If I'm not giving any predictions for the safety of, I'm too close to the players and coaches and everything involved.
Yeah.
But this, I genuinely, like, to the core, hook me up to a monitor. I can't tell you. I don't know. I have no idea. This is too close.
That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my gosh.
I have some thoughts. What? No.
You gotta get even championship.
Championship. So okay, that's where I was going. I was thinking about what ifs. Okay,
let's do what ifs. So let's say we have the Kings versus Ignite. Who's winning?
Oh Lord, have mercy. I think Kings will.
All right, you hear that, Ignite? She's going against the play.
No, but that doesn't mean that I don't want.
Ignite to win. I understand that. Lisa's got a special investment. I love
just
all teams created equal in my mind from a league perspective.
In my brain right now, you ask me a question like that, so I have to go through all of the different factors that play into it. Whether it's numbers on the team, changes, injuries, things like that.
I think that's a huge part of why.
I think they can beat them, but they're going to have to overcome some odds, which they can.
Which they can, and that makes it dangerous.
Of guys, and that's and they're the kind of guys that'll find a way.
Yeah,
and I've seen that in Ignite over and over again. They have found a way to win some difficult games.
With 5 guys on the floor, with 6 guys on the floor. And back-to-back games.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and so the question is, will they be able to do that
against a Kings roster
a second time in that evening? I think that's why I wish
I know.
We could set this up a little different. Maybe next time it's back-to-back days or something. Because you're right, like you said before, Kings is coming in with that advantage because they won't have a game before. They'll be well rested.
I think another thing that's going to change over the season is a big part of even the spacing. Like, ideally, the spacing between Friday, May 21st and June 11th, it gives time guys to rest up, right? But essentially, and guys to prepare, essentially came down to court availability, right? That's what we talked about with COVID and scheduling. Yes. So it was like, this is all we got before we start to go into like July, and now we're having one game in June and one game in July. So with COVID and scheduling, this has put the guys in a tough situation. I mean, they've been forced to play. I think a team has played 3 games in one game. Oh, no, only 2, I think, a max of. But they've been used to it all season. But this is hard when it comes down to the championship games. When you are playing the best 3 teams, statistically, and what they've come down to in the league. And now you got to play them back to back.
Right.
So that's why it's like.
It's like proving yourself over and over again when you just proved yourself.
And that's what they gotta.
But that's what they have to overcome. They have to be able to find a way to do that.
Like Movement's been down to a few numbers. Dynasty, Fury. Kings has been about the only roster, in my opinion, that has been consistently able to, Dynasty actually too, consistently has great numbers, right?
Yeah.
Guys to sub,
Yep.
like deeper than like not just 10 guys, like they have
Right.
12 guys,
Right.
you know, like, and the other
the guys who
teams
need-
we're looking at like 8, 7.
How is movement right now with their numbers?
You know, I really what it came down to is some schedule conflicts with the guys, but I think they're going to have a pretty good roster going into it. Maybe I would estimate they'd have about like 4 off the bench, so like 9. But you know that could be 12. That could be I think they go up to 10. That'd be 10. That could be. I think it'll be 10 because they got to step up. I think their guys
Right.
are all invested in this moment. They're ready to go.
Okay, so you didn't ask me about what if movement.
Movement and Kings.
I think there would be an upset.
There would be an upset?
I think movement would beat Kings.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Which, you know what?
Again, that doesn't mean that I don't want Ignite to win.
Yeah, Ignite or Kings or Movement or anyone.
They're all phenomenal athletes, phenomenal basketball players, great people. They put so much time and effort and energy and will into these games. Their training in between. I mean, they all
Everybody.
deserve so much
And
respect.
the coaches, the effort,
Yeah.
amount they've had to
Yes.
coach their players
Yes.
through this league, because it's definitely
Yes.
an adjustment. It's super respectable from all organizations, and I appreciate the ones that especially go above and beyond with their players, and hopefully we can continue to partner with those teams, not just these current teams, but other teams like these teams
Right.
in the future that are invested in the community, want to grow, and want to develop their players as professional athletes, and that includes how they act on the floor, how they act off the floor.
Absolutely.
So, again, please come on out Friday, June 11th, to see if Lisa's predictions are right.
Don't burn me.
All the hate comments can be directed this way. I didn't say anything. I have no opinion.
You know I love you all. You know I love you all. Yeah.
But again, concessions, merch,
Yes.
awards will be given out. 2 contests, everything in between. So please come on out. And we just want to say a huge shout out to all of our sponsors that have got us up to this point. It is such an influential, season, especially during this time, and to have your support along the way of all the venues, the Menominee Nation Arena, Just the Game Fieldhouse, our media partners, Big Bark Media is helping us put this on right here. OSMS, Ascension, who provide athletic training above and beyond our expectations and needs. And
Yes.
everything has just been great. And our newest partner of King Customs, who develops custom shoe wear, it's been awesome. And we just want to give a huge shout out to you guys and say thank you. If you would like to be on that list of wonderful individuals and organizations that back our same mission and vision for the league, please reach out at wisbl.com, and we can, we'd love to sit down and talk with you and learn more about your organization as well, and what your missions and visions are, and how we can build a mutually beneficial relationship.
Yeah, love it. We'd love to partner with you.
Period.
Bam.
That's it. Episode 6 is a wrap. We look forward to seeing our final matchups of the season, and we look forward to see some of the things that are going to come during summertime. I know we got a few events out there, and this season Fiesta on Saturday, June 26th.
Yeah. So make sure you rock the podcast next week, because we'll talk about those details.
Yes.
And
All right. Thank you, everyone.
have a great day.
All right.